For the second time in his career, Senator Bob Menendez is facing corruption charges, bribery charges. The first ones were in 2017. He skipped those, he evaded those. And I guess that's why he tried it again. New Jersey senator is being charged with accepting bribes in exchange for favors. Remember, this is the former head of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. He accepted those favors on behalf of the Egyptian government, which is a real head scratcher. But it wasn't him, just him. He was accompanied by his wife, Nadine, and 3 New Jersey businessmen who are also indicted along with him. Both the Menendezes face up to 45 years if convicted. 45 years in jail, of course. Menendez has spoken out. He says he refuses to resign his chair as senator. We'll talk about who's asking for that. He has resigned from the chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, but that's not the chair we're looking for. At this point, buddy, it's probably time to go. But let's look into the specifics. The indictment, again, the second in 8 years against the 69-year-old senator, alleges an illegal commingling, of Menendez's obligations to advance US priorities and his private interest in cultivating relationships with wealthy businessmen. It also includes charges against his wife and 3 New Jersey businessmen who authorities say showered the couple with money, gold, and a luxury car in exchange for official favors. Some of the things that were found in his home, yes, they were recovered. That's important because we'll talk about some reactions later. $100,000 in gold bars. We're keeping gold bars, guys. So all the gold heads out there are like, yes, we got one in the Senate. $480,000 in cash, including being hidden in a safe, in closets, in jackets, according to the reports. Also, DNA of one of the men prosecutors say bribed him in an envelope containing hundreds of thousands of dollars. Basically, they were running out of places to store all the cash that they were getting illegally. One set of allegations is that Menendez directly interfered in criminal investigations, including pushing to install a federal prosecutor in New Jersey he believed could be influenced in a criminal case against a businessman and associate of the senator. Other accusations include repeated actions by Menendez to benefit Egypt, despite US government misgivings over the country's human rights record, that in recent years have prompted Congress to attach restrictions on aid. His efforts include ghostwriting a letter to fellow senators, encouraging them to lift a hold on $300 million in aid to Egypt. Again, remember, Egypt has a military regime, has had one, and honestly, the US has never cut ties to Egypt. We're not talking about withholding completely the money. We're talking about certain stipulations on the money. These aren't sanctions, right? In the ways that we've seen levied at Iran or at Venezuela. No, it doesn't matter that Egypt has been killing its own people. There's still a relationship there. But anyway, back to Menendez. He had a very fun defense. And I just call it fun because it's sort of ridiculous. One of the things that he said is that the reason he stored so much cash on hand in his home is because his family fled Cuba, and so they are used to making sure they have money on them and being ready to go at any moment's notice. No matter that was years and years and decades ago, but it's also what criminals do when you can't put stuff in banks because you got it through illicit means. But anyway, here's what he had to say in his defense. Again, he's not resigning. For years, he said, forces behind the scenes have repeatedly attempted to silence my voice and dig my political grave. Since this investigation was leaked nearly a year ago, there's been an active smear campaign of anonymous sources and innuendos to create an air of impropriety where none exists. Those behind this campaign simply cannot accept that a first-generation Latino American from humble beginnings could rise to be a US senator and serve with honor and distinction. Even worse, they see me as an obstacle in the way of their broader goals. Who are you talking about? Is this enemy in the room with you right now, Bob Menendez? It seems like the only enemy in the room with you is your wife and yourself and the mirror. But Senator Turner making this into you're trying to take down a powerful Latino. I mean, talk about bad faith.
Francesca, this is definitely the wrong way to use identity politics. I mean, this is an example of the wrong way, the bad way to use identity, but he is doing it. I was thinking about when you were, educating our viewers or bringing them up to date about this, about the wife being involved. And I'm thinking, wow, this is not what was meant by it takes teamwork to make the dream work. They got that all wrong, Francesca.
It depends on your dream, I guess. But yeah, I mean,
all maybe up in this together. And I know we're gonna get into who's asking him to resign, should have happened. I mean, he got away with it the first time as you laid out. I don't think he's gonna get away with it this time, but a court will decide ultimately what happens to the senator. But something that David Sirota put on Twitter really caught my attention, Francesca, and I wanna share this with our viewers. He said, imagine being mad at Bob Menendez while insisting Donald Trump will drain the swamp. Conversely, he said, imagine hating Donald Trump's corruption while defending Bob Menendez. Both examples are deranged, yet that's like 90% of America that's been lobotomized by Fox and MSNBC, respectively. And I'm telling you, Sirota hit the nail on the head on that, because we know that each side, each camp has taken a side and they make excuses for whoever's on their team. There is no excuse for what has been found out about Senator Bob Menendez at this point. And it is nothing but sheer arrogance and hubris why this man has not totally resigned from the United States Senate, because it is legal to bribe politicians in America. I just want to remind our viewers of that.
Absolutely, and yet he had to seek illegal means. I mean, do you understand, like, the government of Egypt could lobby like the right way, so to speak, right? I mean, you can even, as we know, and we'll talk about Clarence Thomas later on in the rundown, right? As long as you disclose some of the gifts that are being given to you, or if it is, banked under, a lobbying or campaign, like there are ways to get around all of this, right? There's ways for the Egyptian government to actually have a massive influence on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And yet, no, it wasn't enough for them. They had to go out around everybody and get all this, money and cash and gold bars in cars, in all of these things. Again, as we've talked about, bribery is pretty much legalized throughout our system. So going around the American system is it means you're wildly corrupt. And we're gonna hold him accountable because obviously we're progressives and we're trying to apply equally our standards to Donald Trump as did Bob Menendez. Here's what I'll say about Senator Bob Menendez. Leave aside the corruption charges. This guy has been a toxic force when it comes to the region that he claims to hail from, right? His parents were refugees from Cuba. He claims he's Latino. He lifts that up all the time. And yet what does he do time and time again? He continually demonizes countries in Latin America if their politics do not go his way, if their politics he thinks don't benefit US corporate interests, right? i.e. Venezuela, i.e. Cuba. And he consistently stands in the way of any kind of progress when it comes to easing US relations with Latin America. And in contrast, you have people like AOC, who are leading this charge, all these new representatives, young Latinos, Joaquin Castro, leading the charge to try and chart a new way in the region. But you've got right-wing Latinos like Marco Rubio, like Bob Menendez, Republican, doesn't matter what party they're on, and Ted Cruz, who are all saying, no, now you're socialist, now you're evil, now you eat babies and or dogs and or we forgot what the line is anymore. So all I have to say is, the dude has been terrible on foreign policy. And lo and behold, he's been taking bribes from Egypt. Oh, I'm sorry, I guess Maduro didn't bribe him hard enough to, swing his way in Venezuela.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.